Please welcome Cameron Call.
It was a vacation from hell, like living in a scene from a movie. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow members and guests, allow me to entertain you for these next few minutes as I share with you my worst vacation memory. Who here's been to Lake Powell? When I got married, one of the things I married into was an annual week-long trip to Lake Powell on my father-in-law's houseboat. I definitely married up. I'd never been until I got married, and it quickly became one of my favorite weeks of the year. My father-in-law had been going to the lake every summer for the past 40-plus years, and was a Lake Powell extraordinaire. It was so fun going wakeboarding all day long, lounging around the houseboat, eating like kings, eating Reese's peanut butter cups, watching movies, reading books, riding jet skis as the sun set over the thick canyon walls. It was like heaven. And then we decided to bring kids. We all knew that the trip would be affected once my wife and I started having kids, and all of our siblings had kids. But let's face it, there's a lot of crazy things we do to keep traditions alive and to please our in-laws. So we took the boys when they were first 5 months old and had a great time. No one really slept much. It wasn't very relaxing, but we still had fun. We didn't go again until they were about 2.5 years old, and at that point we had a newborn. We were in Texas, so we couldn't come back again, but this particular year the adults were outnumbered to the kids and the required tasks to make the trip a success. There were 4 people that normally come with us that couldn't make it that year. My father-in-law was always very calculated with the whole trip and made sure that we knew our part to make the trip happen. And so getting on the lake, getting everything and everyone on the lake was a monumental task, and here's how it worked. First, the houseboat was launched. He would go out into the no-wake zone, sit there and idle. Second, 2 speedboats were launched, and he always brought 2 in the event that one of them would stop working. And every year, for some reason, one of them did. Third, the wave runners were launched. They would meet up with the speedboats, tie off to be towed, and then the speedboats would meet up with the houseboat and tie off to be towed. So I was driving one speedboat, and my brother-in-law was driving the other, and as he was tying off his boat to the drifting houseboat, my father-in-law suddenly had to accelerate to avoid drifting into a buoy. Suddenly, the unexpected change in velocity caused my brother-in-law to fall off of his boat into the water, where he lost his glasses. Dutiful messengers, mainly a couple of the grandkids and his wife, ran into the cabin and shrieked at my father-in-law, "Man overboard, Grandpa!" He killed the engines and slowly but surely drifted into the buoy he was trying to avoid hitting. That wasn't the worst part of it, though. The propellers had caught onto this steel cable tethering the buoy to the ground, and the whole boat was stuck. Of course, I'm watching all of this from my boat 50 yards away, waiting for my turn to go and tie off. I see my father-in-law radio the Coast Guard to ask for help, but in his impatience, he grabbed his granddaughter's hot pink goggles, strapped up, dove in, and somehow managed to unhook the propeller from the cable. Saving his hands, he leaped out of the water victoriously and sees the now approaching Coast Guard. And he waves them off to avoid paying a $50 fee. He calls me in, we get tied off, and we're finally ready to go to his favorite location, nearly 3 hours away from the marina. It was now 4 o'clock in the afternoon. In the previous years, we had made it to the lake and everything ready to go by 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You're probably wondering, well, where are the kids in this whole story? But they were there, in the unspoken details, adding to the overall stress of the afternoon. Between poopy diapers, screaming, hungry, sweaty kids, it was a little crazy. Our boys had a blast, though, exploring the houseboat, finding all the hidden cubbies, the hidden rooms, and the closets. But their favorite thing was playing up on the roof. there was a secondary steering wheel up there that my father-in-law assured us didn't work and that it was broken. He said that they could play with it as much as they wanted. So of course they were up there playing with the steering wheel, pushing all the buttons, pretending to be pirates, having a blast. Who wouldn't enjoy that? A couple hours into our trip, we were passing through this narrow canyon with rock walls on both sides, and we suddenly feel the houseboat turn perpendicular to the direction that we're trying to go. He tries to correct the boat with his will, but wasn't able to. At that moment, we realized that the 2-year-olds had somehow managed to turn on that secondary broken steering wheel under complete teenager supervision. We ran upstairs, caught them just in time to avoid colliding into the canyon wall, and we eventually make it to our spot on the lake shortly after sundown. And that was just the first day. I wish I had more time to share with you more what happened that week. It didn't get much better than that. But what's the point of all this? If you have a houseboat and it has a secondary steering wheel, chances are it works, even if you don't think it does. And any kids that are there are probably going to figure out how to turn it on. Kids are always better at figuring out technology than we are, most of the time. And more importantly, kids are better than figuring out technology than we think they are. Thank you.